Good evening. I'd like to call the regular city council meeting to order for March 10th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. We have a nice group here tonight, and I would just like to read out for council protocol. The city council members are here to serve the city of Pierz. We expect respectful conduct at all times. Slander or inappropriate language will not be tolerated. Please speak only when addressed, one person at a time. Each speaker has a 5-minute limit, and we thank everybody for their cooperation. The first item we really have is the approval of the minutes for the city council meeting of February 24th, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
Donnie makes the motion.
Second it.
Gary seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approval of the city council minutes for February 24th. Next, I'd like to go to additions or removals to the agenda. I got a couple on here. I think that first thing what I'd like to do, I was talking to Laura, we'd like to move Eric G up to basically 7, right after the approval of the agenda, so he's got something going on tonight. And then I think, for the workshop number 7, we want to add the school agreement onto that. And then we have I think.
We're going to remove a
Lynn.
ranger from the park board updates.
Yep, ranger from the park board update. Okay, and then Sarah is going to give the claims report and the treasurer's report. And I don't know if there's any more additions. Gary?
No.
Good. Donnie?
Good.
Lynn?
Good.
Sarah?
I'm good.
Okay, so if I could get approval of the minutes with those additions and removals?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda with the addition and the removals.
I'll
Second
second.
it.
Okay, and then Sarah seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So first, we would like to move to Eric Gaffke for an update. So welcome to the hot seat, Gary. Or Eric, yep.
All right. Good evening, council and mayor. Thank you for bumping me up. Just quick update. I mean, it ain't been too crazy down there, but we did wrap up our solar stuff from last month. I don't know if I clarified that with you guys. We did the commissioning end of it, so we made sure it all works. So right now, the 2 that are in town are up and running and going. So that's a good deal. Yep. We've been working on the sweeper. We've got it in the shop. Phil's been grinding away, and we've got a bunch of holes in the hopper that we're going to be working on. So it'll kind of be a week or 2 yet before that's ready to go. But we're working on that. Snow removal so far this year has been pretty good. It's not been crazy, and the guys all been doing a good job. So we'll see what it brings here yet this month. We've been also kind of just gearing up for spring, counting the potholes and getting ready for park stuff. I've been working on getting some quotes for the Lions Park.
Great, thank you.
So at some point, hopefully next week or so, I should have all the quotes I can get for it, and then we can decide on what we're going to do with that. So I do have PTO I'm going to take next week. If anything happens, I'm available. I'm just going to be here. Just got some time I got to burn up. So other than that, that's really all I have. If you guys have any questions for me.
I'm curious, what did you think of the solar stuff? I know a little bit about it, but did you?
Oh, it's interesting to see how it all works. It's a lot of stuff that goes on a home. I don't know. It's one of those things. If you're a believer in that sort of thing and you want that way of power, I think it's probably a good thing. We're going to find out how well.
Great.
To be
I would
honest
love
with
to.
you.
Yeah, I'd love to find out 6 months from now. or
Yeah,
whatever,
to
how-
see, I think it's going to vary quite a bit come winter and the seasons for these people. But I don't know. It also depends on how much power you consume too.
Right.
So I don't know. We're going to kind of see how that plays out. But we do have another person that applied, so I think that'll be 3 then in town. So Yeah, that's my intake on that, or outlook on
No,
that.
that's good. Yeah, I'm just, that's the, I know a little bit about it, but it's curious to see how it all works.
Yeah, it's, should work, you know, it works, it just depends on how it works for them, you know, if it works out.
Yep. Any guys, good questions for Eric? Eric? Good, awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Appreciate all your
Thanks.
work. The next item on the agenda is our workshop for March 17th at 6 PM. It's already been approved, and it just needs to be finalized, the topics. We have the emergency fund, the road project funds, meeting time and update of our annual designations, the committee members' pay, time cards, chicken ordinance, Freedom Fest tickets, first response, insurance, the fire department contribution, and then we'd like to add this school agreement onto that. That's concerning the golf course and golf, high school golf and cross-country teams. So if I could get maybe a motion to,
I'll make the motion to approve the workshop agenda.
okay, Dinah makes a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Lynn seconds agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A motion carried for that. The next one is Eric had brought up about the solar pre-application approval for 115 Vincent Street South. I think everything is in order for that. We got all the permitting and all the approvals for that. So I just really need a motion to approve that. Unless somebody's got some questions, but.
I don't have any questions. You got questions? I'll make the motion.
Dinah makes a motion.
I can second it.
Sarah seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried for the pre-application approval for 115 Vincent Street South. Next, we have some park board updates from the March 3rd meeting, and either,
Gary, do you want to do it, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay. The assistant manager start date. I know we talked about starting Mark around that April 1st or a little thereafter. With looking at the weather, it looks like, we're going to get on the course hopefully mid-April. There's work that needs to be done prior to those guys getting in there. Because it's their first season, they're both learning, what we have here. So we think it's pretty important that we bump up Mark's start date, and we would like to do it next week, Monday, the 17th, with limited hours. He would be going in, 2 to 3 hours in the evening to do some cleaning, making sure he's got his ordering in place, product here when we start. I know that is going to be an issue because we're going to have to pay para. We looked at that amount, or had did some figuring, and it looks like the most it would be is right around that $900. It should be less than that, though, because again, he's putting limited hours in these first 3 weeks. So we'd be
That-
looking at
This is for
hopefully an
Mark.
approval.
okay. And then we talked about this, I know a little bit about the staggered dates with the full-time or lead starting, so we've got that all taken, kind of covered, so one can start early and then,
Yep, and we don't have that person hired yet. That is out there for, I think it's just on Facebook right now in terms of people looking.
It's on
It's on
our,
Indeed too?
yep,
Perfect. And then we'll leave it up to Parker and Mark in terms of getting that person hired.
yep, okay. So otherwise, we're looking pretty good as far as that all goes, so.
Yep.
Then, let's see,
And the other part of that was the food license reimbursement. Mark did take the class. He did pay for it on his own, and it was $185. We're just looking to see if that can be reimbursed for him.
I don't think is that, anybody got any I don't think that's a
No,
problem.
I think that's a good deal.
Yeah, I do too. You good? You're okay?
That's all I
Sarah?
got.
Okay, anybody got any questions for Lynn at all? No? So if I could get a motion for the start date, I think you were saying March 17th, right? For Mark, and then the food license reimbursement for Mark as well for $185.
I'll make that motion.
Sarah makes a motion.
Second that.
Gary seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That was for both, right? The food
For
license
both.
and the
Yes, sir.
start date?
Yep, that is for the assistant manager start date of April 17th. For
March.
March 17th, and then the food license reimbursement for Mark Heusel as well for $185. Okay, so the next item we have on the docket is a Sourcewell ordinance opportunity. Now, so this kind of came up with Jim Gerwing a couple weeks ago. He had stated that there was one thing that was one of his goals when he was on the permitting thing is to kind of get something going, and he kind of felt frustrated because we never had anything actually set in that. And, I think that he made a really good point. So Laura and I were at the mayor's meeting last week, and we got a chance to talk to Sourcewell. And they've done it for the city of Royalton. They've done it for a number of cities that were there. And Laura looked into it, and they charge $60 an hour, which I think is really reasonable for, other than instead of having our lawyer do it, and they do it for everybody, so they got a kind of a cut and paste probably kind of deal. And they'll do land use and subdivision ordinances. Is that right, Laura? So we would like to move forward with it and then take them on to do that for us, to kind of clean up some of our ordinances that are kind of lacking, if that's all right with you guys.
Yep.
So I would just need a motion for that.
I'll make that motion to have Sourcewell help with the land use and subdivision zoning ordinances at $60 an hour.
Okay, Lynn makes the motion.
I'll second that.
Gary seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to work with Sourcewell at $60 an hour to help us clean up our land use and subdivision ordinances. Okay, so next, this usually gets a little confusing for me, but I think I got it figured out. Kay isn't here tonight, but we got Sarah that is going to do our claims report and also our treasurer's report. So take it away.
For claims this month, we have $468,348.67.
So if I get a
I'll
motion,
make the motion to accept the claims report.
Larry makes a motion to accept the claims.
Second that.
Gary seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried, Sarah. Now the treasurer's report.
So the ending balance on February 28th was $3,032,772.38.
And before we do the motion, all these motions, I'm really kind of a stickler for budgets and money, and I'm really proud of what the council has done, because it was about a year ago or a year and a half ago, I think we were under $1 million on this report. And we've been able to work everything out, get all of our, and what was suffering were our dedicated funds. So just as a clarification, that doesn't mean we have that money sit in the bank. 99% of it's dedicated to funds, whether it's the fire fund or the police fund or the golf course, you name it, we got funds all over the place. But we've actually brought it up enough that we've actually got to have our departments, I would think, Laura, for the most part, all funded.
Yes.
Yeah. So to have a turnaround like that, I think is, I'm really, really proud of everybody on the council that got us up to that amount. So anyway, can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Lynn makes the motion.
I'll second that.
Gary seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So the next thing we have the fire chief update we have Scoop. Yeah. With his bag of tricks.
I don't know, you never put this in there.
I did not.
That's actually easier to go with Scoop, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks, boss.
So we'll just kind of go through this again and highlight a few things. This year we had a new assistant chief. Scott moved up. Nate Ottman took over training officer, safety officer, and everybody else stayed the same. First page there just kind of gives what we cover, township, cities and stuff. Last year calls were up, 98 calls we had, which I don't know why or what, but kind of compares to the COVID year maybe, but we had a few more mutual aid calls on average, 11. A little bit dry in the fall, so we had a few more grass fires and stuff, but if you see the total value, and this is just an estimate, of course, is 1.4 million. And I'm trying to see here, for 23, it was 2.6 million, so I don't know if we're doing a better job or if it was just smaller fires, but that's quite a bit of money or, property we saved, so kudos to the boys for that. And then we can just go to Pierz, city of, I guess, I should ask Dustin, but he has false alarm and then there's alarm, so I'm not quite sure what that meant, but usually we're around 5 for that, so that's a little better. Maybe people are watching their systems a little better. A few more medical assists. We got the Lucas device, on our 508, so a lot of that stuff. Other than that, really nothing too exciting. And then this year, I guess I'll get to it, but just kind of some of the overview. We replaced the 514, which is our pickup truck. We got rid of the Yukon, replaced that with that new truck, and which is very, very helpful. We can bring our hoses back from a fire. We don't have to have them sit in the back of 508, and because they're all full of that junk and carcinogens. So that's a huge plus, and it's a very good equipment hauler. We can pull our side-by-side better, so that was a huge improvement. Last year we got a grant from Pioneer Seed again for $5,000, and we were always lacking some rope rescue. I mean, we're not really fully rope trained, but I mean, we can, if we have to, we can get through. And we got a Stokes basket, so we could, have them ready to extricate or move out if we have to wait for another department. We got new rescue airbags. Our other ones were really, really old. I don't even know. They were there when I got on back in 98. So it was time. We got a grant from I can never pronounce this, One Oak, so that was $5,000. So that was a huge plus again. For that, we got a grant from Lax Casino again for $1,000, and we got a new transfer pump for our second tanker. So that was good. And then also we got $5,000 from Sourcewell, and that was used for new pagers, which are getting outdated. And then this year we added just kind of a projections, I guess, just so you guys kind of know where we're at. I mean, this isn't in stone, but it just kind of gives you guys a little bit of a heads up, kind of where we're at. Of course, the major cost, will be the pumper, but that's, let's see here, where's 502? 502, that'll be in 2029. So, I mean, that's a little ways, and that, of course, won't have to be exactly that year, but as you know, everything's up, so that's probably $500,000. That's a pretty big investment, but everything else is we're pretty well equipped. And the other thing that, I guess, the first thing that we're going to be looking at is SCBA's. They're going to be coming up in 2 years, that they're expired, and NFPA standard, that's huge. That's our major life source going into a fire. So that's definitely one thing we're going to have to invest in. And as you can see, I kind of about fell over too. It was $150,000 just for those, it's like $10,000 a unit, which is crazy, but it is what it is. So our plan is right now, you can't apply for grants. They'll never give you one if it's before 10 years. So at 10 years, we're going to apply, for FEMA, hopefully, maybe.
Well, you've had them for 8 years, right?
Yep. So we're at 8. So 2 more years we'll have to wait. And then we'll apply. Then if we can't get it, then we'll have to plan for it and move forward, with funds. So that's about it, really.
Scoop, can you just, for people like watching and just the lay person, just real briefly explain what the SCBA is?
It's called, it's a synonym for self-contained breathing apparatus. So when there's a house fire, you go into a house, that's what the guys you see, they put the mask on, the air tanks on the back, and you can go in a fight, an active fire, smoke, whatever, and put the fire out. So it's really a life-saving device
It is.
that we need,
So the reason why I had Scoop explain it was that even though these things are only 8 years old, we're having all kinds of problems with them. I
Yeah.
mean, right off the bat, we did. So
Of
they
course,
were-
the company went,
Yeah, the company's
So-
gone. So we discussed it at the PRAFA meetings that the firemen are doing their best to keep these things, they're constantly working on them, sending them in,
Junk.
keeping them up. Yeah, they are junk.
Yeah.
So they're good, they're nice enough
yeah,
to get these to 10 years, what the requirement is. We're hoping that it will be 2027. It could be 2026 that
Yeah,
we have
I
to
mean-
get them. But there was pressure, or people from preference saying, well, let's just buy them now. And they're nice enough to understand
Yeah.
our situation at the city, that if the firemen were saying, we can make it 2 years, we can get this thing pushed out for 2 years. So I'm really actually grateful for that. But if there is an emergency and we have to do something, actually, this kind of ties into what I just was talking about. If we have to do something, I want to be in the position in the city to be able to, if an emergency comes up, that we can cover something without having to take out any kind of a loan or anything like that. But, so, I just wanted to touch
Yep.
on that real quick too.
Nope.
Scoop.
yep, that sounds good. I guess that's about it. Anybody got any questions?
On your pagers, are you looking at replacing them all?
Well, slowly, as
Or
they,
doing like batches of?
yep, five,
6, 7, 8, 5, whatever it
six,
is.
whatever we got in the budget, and if we can get a grant, I think Sourcewell's a huge funder, and I think we can get another grant this year for them, so, get 5, 6 as we need them, so. And I don't know, Eric, if you've dealt with it, but Granite Electronics is new owners and stuff, so we might go to a different company for them, but they're getting kind of slow down there, but anyhow,
It wouldn't hurt to research it
yeah,
and find out, even
That-
cost difference.
right. Yeah, Todd Vance, he was at Granite, but he moved to something out in Fergus Falls or something,
Okay,
so I was gonna follow up with him once and see.
yeah.
Because they do wear out their original ones. I don't even know when we went to anymore. When we went to Mega or 800, that's when we had to switch. It's been a long time,
It's been a
so
long time,
it's time.
yeah.
But that's just a small deal. So, anything else on that report? Okay, well, Steve, of course, everybody knows he had a medical issue, so he can't make it. Jeff's out of town, so they wanted me to bring up the, where we're at with the relief and kind of fill you guys in where we're at with all that. So last year, at the start of this year, 2025, we were at 1,468,230. And these here are all estimated, of course. The city and township's contribution of 550 is 30,250. So that gets us to 1,498,480. Estimated return 5%. That can always vary, but that gives us another 74,924. So that puts us at 1,573,404. And then the 2% state aid that's always given in like October. That this year will be $80,136. So estimated assets at the end of this year, 2025, will be 1,653,540. So looking at that, last year we were at 3,100 a year. So with that estimated assets against our liabilities right now of 1,377,071, that puts us at 100%, 120% funded. And it must have been 5 years ago, maybe 5, 6, we started with Par McKnight, our new investment firm, and they always said you should be at least 10% over fully funded. So if we do if we go to 110% funded, which would get us at 1,492,531, we would increase it to 3,200 a year. So that's where that would be at. It's a lot of numbers, but big numbers that I'm not used to, but John, you're used to them, but
Well, I used to be,
Yeah.
not so much anymore.
your checkbook? So that's that, I guess. It says here, we've received the contribution from the townships already, so 29 at 550.
So,
So do you guys vote on that? I don't know.
yeah, so here's what I guess my thought is, and I know we have Phil that's gonna be coming up and he's got something he'd like to address us with. And typically we do have to vote on it, but just so we kind of get our numbers kind of figured out exactly where we want to be at. And I hope I'm speaking for the whole council. If somebody else wants to take this, by all means, you can. But we do need to vote on it.
Okay.
And somebody need to make a motion, but I'd like to have Phil come up here and talk first
Okay.
before we.
Well, we also say that it's going to be addressed on the 17th on the workshops, as fire department contribution.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that takes care of that then. What do we want to do? You guys
Well,
tell me.
if we're doing it at the workshop and going through it, because that's what's listed on that, is it says fire department contribution.
Okay,
I was
it's
wondering why it was on there, but if it's
Yeah,
on
me
there for
too,
us to
actually. I
discuss,
guess I
then
missed it.
well, you read it off.
I know it, well, you know how that goes. So, do you guys are you okay if we wait and talk about it at the workshop and then move forward? Or when do you need it by, Scoop?
Well, the sooner the better, I
Yeah.
suppose, but I don't,
Do
I
you
mean,
guys
I
want to
don't-
do it
it's
the
not a-
numbers?
There's not a
Do you wanna
set
do it?
date, correct?
it's not a set date, but of course, we're
So then
gonna lose money.
I'd prefer to discuss it at the workshop.
Okay, let's do that. If it's okay with you, we'll discuss at the workshop and then we'll just, in 2 weeks, we'll have.
Do you
a
have those
decision.
numbers written down, Dan?
I do. I can print it off.
Yeah, if you
That'd
can
be
get it to
great.
Laura so we have it for that
Yep.
night.
Okay, well, that makes things a little easier.
Okay. All right, and then you want Phil?
Yes,
Okay.
if that's okay. Phil would like to make up statement and then we can ask him some questions.
So I know it was kind of a concern with Lynn and Donnie on this here, so.
Well, I think the whole council.
Hi, good evening, Phil.
Good evening, Council. Here tonight to address some concerns of my residents in the city of Pierz. There's been some rumors going around that I moved out of town. Some of those statements are not true. Am I in the process of trying to buy a house out of town? Yes. Has that plan gone to what we were expecting? It has not. We were contacted about buying a place through a family about a year ago, and it's taken forever to get done, and it's still not done. So yes, I still live in town. I'm still an active member of the department. I want to be here, but I have no idea when that end date is going to be for the purchase of this new home.
So you do not live in the other residence?
No. I have supporting documents with me.
Well, I know you homestead the house. I understand that piece of
Yep,
it.
it's like
I
a
mean,
license
but-
with my address on it.
Well, anybody can do that, Phil, you know that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to change your license just because you moved. You know what I
didn't
mean?
move.
You should,
I have things at this other house,
sure.
but no, I mean, it's no different than having a
You're
cabin.
staying there 7 nights a week,
Nope.
okay? I mean,
I
you call that
would-
your primary residence.
Here?
In town?
Yes, yes. No different than having a cabin. I can go there on the weekends. get work
Absolutely,
done.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, it's been brought to our attention, and some of it's because of things that you guys have personally posted on Facebook and other things, that you've moved. You've moved your wife's business,
Yep. So she commutes.
okay?
I have my business equipment's out there because it's closer to Little Falls. That's where a lot of my business is.
I mean, I hope you're being honest. If that's the case, then I mean, I can't dispute it.
On my end of the world, it would be the first week of February. You would have been on vacation on a cruise. I was on vacation too. Woohoo!
Yep.
I was in Florida. My wife is a social butterfly, and as we're sitting at the airport waiting to fly home, my wife starts talking to this couple, and they're going back and forth, and the couple says, "Where are you from?" And Linda says, "We're from Pierz, Minnesota." And your uncle Don stated, "Huh, my nephew Phil used to live there. He moved out 6 months ago, and he lives over by Randall." And that's when I went, you've got family members that are out there saying you no longer live here, that you live in Randall. And that's when,
You know,
that's
the last
what I
time I
became
talked to
aware.
an individual,
Well, he said he was supposed to go on the cruise with you, but they had something else going on, so they didn't go. That's what he told
I
me.
haven't spoken to
my wife.
him since December of '23.
Don't know.
I was on the cruise with him.
He said he's done cruises with you before, and he said he was supposed to go on this one, but they had something going on. Anyway, he's the one that brought up and said, 6 months ago, my nephew and his family moved out of town. They no longer live
And,
here.
and that was the intention.
So,
But, like I said, things have not gone according to plan as for what the situation is. So we were approached in April of '24 to buy this house. They wanted it done before the end of the year because they wanted to rent it out if we weren't going to move that fast. And we still haven't got any paperwork for it.
so are you renting it from them, or they're just letting you live in there for nothing?
We're not living there.
Well, you go there on the weekends to do your work or do
She's
whatever.
got her business there, and if we're there working on the house, and if we get too late at night, then we'll stay there for the night. When you got air mattresses, living out of boxes, it's not fun.
So do you, I mean, I hate to cut you
Oh,
off.
go ahead.
So you said you live in an apartment here then in town right now? or
No,
you-
I live
you
two
in a
houses down
house?
from you.
Okay, yeah, I know, that's, I mean, I haven't see you there much, but anyway, I just wanted to say, Phil, that, the council, we view you as a dedicated city employee. And then, and also you're very valuable in the fire department. So, my view is this really doesn't have anything to do with you as an employee. It has nothing to do with you as a fireman, other than, we had some questions, and, you know how it is, it's a small town, everybody gets in everybody's business, and I just felt that it was time to bring everything out. It'd been great if this was handled a different way,
Yeah,
but that's the way it works,
And I understand that, but
Yeah.
nobody has asked me. Nobody on this council has come to my door and knocked and asked that question. Why are we here tonight doing this? I'm
Yep.
very upset because of that.
Right. So, and then you're all kept up with all your credits and, education in the fire department. You're
Oh,
all,
absolutely. I'm a full-time firefighter.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is up to
Camp
date.
Ripley.
oh, got it, okay. So,
And I have been upfront with Mr. Rushlow on everything that has been transpired. Had I known this would have gone as long as it had been, I wouldn't have stepped down as being assistant chief for the department. It's been a frustration on my end for almost a year now.
Now, as far as the council, everything is hindsight's always 20/20. But as far as the council, when we're looking at this, it's the chief's job to do this and try to bring this forward and do this. It undermines our chief if one of us comes to you and starts giving you questions. Just like if we have something going on at the golf course and it's outside, we go to Zach, we don't go to the employee.
And he's been frustrated with this too. He's been back and forth between here and myself.
and you guys, like I said, it just really doesn't have to do with, it doesn't have to do with anything right
No.
now, other than what his residence says.
Right.
So let's just, I mean, personally, for me, let's just keep it on Phil's, if
Yep.
if he resides here, I mean, I guess, I personally don't have a problem with it, but I gotta make the assumption he's telling us the truth. But, and then if you guys don't, I totally understand but you guys are asking good questions, I don't know, but.
No, and if truly, I mean, that's the situation, Phil, and I hope you're being honest. I mean, I'm going to take you for your word that you're being honest about this.
I
Because
have
if
no
you're
reason to
not,
be dishonest about it.
well, I hope not. Because like I said, you have to understand why we're seeing these things. I'm getting questioned about it,
Yeah.
because other people see the same thing I do.
That's the problem we have, Phil. The problem we have is we have people coming to us. So, and I have people come to me too, and, 90% of it, you can talk your way out of it, but my problem is when we get continual people asking us. For me, I thought at some point it would wash out, but it didn't wash out. So that's kind of why I got involved. And with the help with Scoop, I appreciate Scoop stepping up and helping me out. So I think that he did what he should have did, and I think it worked out for the better. At least we're getting down to it. And I appreciate everything. Donnie had great valid points. Lynn's got really good points too, and I don't know where Gary sits with this, but this way we can flush it all out. And we have to trust you, because like I said, you're a great employee, you're a great fireman. I am your neighbor, and just because I don't see you all the time when I walk by doesn't mean anything, but you know, I am next door to you, so if you're not there, I'll probably know you're not there. You know, so that's how it works around here. But so I don't know. I don't know if you guys have any other.
I don't think it comes down to you as a person. I think it's just accountability of the city's tax dollars
And our
is what
policy.
people are in policies. And that's what people are looking at.
And I think Donnie would agree with me with the statement, I didn't join the department for retirement. I joined it to serve my community, serve my town that I lived in. And that's where, on my side, I'm very frustrated.
I don't think anybody's joining the fire department to make $1 million. I'll tell you that much. I mean, you guys
Trust
put
me,
your
Phil,
lives
I
on the
didn't
line.
become mayor to make $1 million.
Yep.
So I understand where you're coming from.
And it was a very hard decision for me to even go try to make this move, because I will not get my 20 years in.
Right.
And that's something that I want to do, because I leave without 20. I'm not an honorary member.
Right.
I'm just a firefighter.
Right. Yep. Okay, so I don't know if you guys, it was really good statement, Gary, on your part, so thank you. And Donnie, I don't want to, do you
No,
got any other?
no,
You're okay with it?
I would agree. We have to go along with
Yeah.
where he's
Nice.
at.
Thank you. How about you, Lynn?
Yep, and I want to thank you for coming and explaining.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean,
Actually,
should it have gotten this far? No, you're right, it shouldn't have.
No.
But thank you for coming and explaining it, and, you know, now it's all out in the open.
yeah,
It shouldn't be a question.
yep. Sarah?
I kind of live under a rock. I vaguely heard about you living in Randall, but it didn't really process. And so, yeah, thank you for coming and explaining it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so that is really good. And obviously, you know, if it ever comes to a situation where you do buy the whole thing and everything, you're gonna, I mean,
Yes.
I would assume, yeah, okay. And then we'll work with Scoop on that then, right, Scoop? Yeah. Got it. Okay, well,
He's gotta let me know.
huh? Yeah. Oh, I know, I understand. It's a process. Yeah, it's a
Right.
process.
Well, and I would hope all of your, you know, fire department members would do that.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're signing, when you get the policy, it says it right in there. Just follow it.
Yeah,
Make your life easy.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. So,
because other people have had to leave, and you know that.
Yep. I'm aware of the policy.
Yeah. So,
And like I said, I've been forthcoming with Mr. Russell about my situation and what my intentions are.
Yep, that's good. Like, once again, I appreciate you coming in here, because it was really hard on Scoop, and it was really hard on me, and it was hard on you, and it was hard on everybody. Now, I think we kind of got it all washed out. That's the way it should be. And I think actually, I'm feeling a lot better now than I did before, obviously. Hopefully you do too, I don't know. But anyhow, good. Well, I think we're good. So you can get out of the hot seat. No.
Thank you very much for your
Yeah,
service,
we
guys.
do, we thank you. Okay, so the next,
that
oh,
it
we got
for me?
You're
you have
You're
to-
done.
good.
Oh,
Okay.
you're back again?
No.
Want me to make a copy of that?
Oh, yep, I'll make it.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next item is,
Eric,
where am I at?
Eric.
Eric, Mr. Hennigan.
He doesn't have as big a folder as what.
No, his is a little
Chief did.
thinner.
You sure? Can Zach go first, Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Sure.
Because I have a bunch of stuff to do.
Ooh,
Okay.
I was like, I see a pile.
There's a pile.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Good evening, council, mayor. I guess I'd like to get approval for the grounds crew wage is for the year, and then I have a few updates that I can go over, where we're at with the golf course and stuff.
So you want to go, what do you want to do first, Zach?
I'd like to get approval for this, and then I just got an update on where we've been at with working on the reels and where the golf carts are at, and I drove around the golf course to see how everything looks, so.
So first, I am going to, I know you guys didn't talk about it at a park board meeting, but I want to get your opinions on the wages before I chime in on anything. Has anybody got any discussion on the wages?
Approved of the wages.
Huh?
I think the wages are fine, just the way they are.
I didn't look at them real close that night at Park Board, and I probably should have, Zach. You've got some that are making quite a bit of a jump in terms of last year to this year. And then others, might be 75 cents, the next one's, $1. There's kind of an inconsistency in terms of it. Can you kind of explain how you came up with that?
Part of it's based on quality and kind of what our limit's at. From what I've understood, our limit for our part-timers is around that $16, and so some of them have been there a little bit longer. So to give them much more than putting them over $16, $17. I've talked with Brad and Jim too, as well as Laura, and so some of these aren't my decisions. Obviously, one of them is my daughter, so I understand that.
Actually, I think two of them are.
Two of them are, yes, sorry. Well, the one with the bigger jump is my daughter. And so it was their decisions too on what they do. She is our high school person that we've hired. Last year, we put out for high school help. We never got any, we got one person back, and that was it. And they just didn't quite fit for what I wanted. She's learned everything that I needed. When I can send her out there, she can do it. And with what wages are out there nowadays, she's going to be 18 this year. So I think she fills in that spot of needing to get paid that, or she's probably gonna have to go somewhere else. So she was the one that caught a 8T box wasn't watering. System wasn't working properly, and she was the one that caught it out of two other adults that were mowing around that tee box as well. So she does catch things that need to be done. I can send her out there to do the work, and I don't have to watch her. So it's just getting her up to where I think she should have been. She started off too low, and that's basically what it is. The other ones were started at those wages, some of them, because they are older people, and so that was based on what we approved them at. So.
So with, is Steven fighting not coming back, that you don't have a wage there?
Yes, that's what that X means.
Okay. And do we need to hire more then, or are you good with what you have?
With what we have, I think we are good. I mean, it's all new to me going on running a new 9, but with my best judgment, I think we have enough people. We don't have to put any advertisement out there for grounds crew. So I'm saying that, like I said, I'm doing my best judgment. This is new to me running another 9, but I feel very confident this is enough to get us through.
So here's I kind of got a little bit of an issue with, I got a couple issues actually. Which I can handle, but I have a tough time having you being their dad and them working, and I don't care if it's directly under you or if there's somebody in between. It kind of goes against what our policy really is, that we have an employee policy. With that said, I understand I worked with your daughter last year when I was volunteering at the golf course. I don't know which one it was, but she was really a nice person, and
Probably Cecilia.
she was a hard worker. So I understand that. The other issue I have is that all of a sudden we approve their wages, and it happened, I think, last year. All of a sudden you come 2 months in and you want to give other people raises based off of certain things because they're upset because somebody else got a pay raise and they didn't get one. I want to have your guarantee that if we approve this, that you're not going to come here 2 months from now and say, well, this person wants more money because of this and that and the other, but it's going to be because of your daughters.
That was 2 years ago, so last year, when we set our wages, I didn't come back and ask, other than when we had people hiring in the middle of the year where we set in that person. But yes, this was set now, and it's going to be set until next year again.
So you're confident?
That's the plan
I
set.
just want to make sure you're not going to
I
come
mean,
back.
if somebody comes to me and says, I want this, or I'm leaving, and they leave, I guess I'm going to bring that to you guys. But short of that, no, I'm not coming to you based on me asking for it. I
And
will.
this fits within the budget that you have.
Yes, it should fit in within the budget.
So the only other one would be then you have somebody that stayed the same. They did not get a raise.
Chad.
Chad,
Chad, so the reason with Chad, he started 3 weeks before we ended the season.
Okay,
And so when I hired him, I told him, this is be your wage going into the following year.
do you remember what we maxed out at? What the max?
We never, I don't think,
We did talk about it.
did we?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it was at the top of my head.
Max out at,
Was it clubhouse staff?
Just
It wasn't
clubhouse
staff. Okay,
That's- I did, and I did, it'd be nice to know exactly where we stand
should
on
talk about
grounds. And I thought we were gonna bring it up, and then I kind of forgot about it at the last park board meeting as well.
we should put that on the agenda.
Um,
Because we did that with clubhouse staff, where we
remember
said we
we
know what
did.
the max is.
yep.
Mhm.
Yep, that's good, good plan.
But yes, I don't plan on coming back with any wage increases on any of these people.
Well, any other questions? I don't know if you guys wanna, whatever, I can't make a motion, so.
Make a motion to approve the wages.
Okay, Gary makes a motion to approve the wages for the grounds crew for 2025 at the golf course.
I'll second.
Sarah seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, Zach.
Thank you. And then I got a phone call today, probably about half the carts will be coming on Thursday. Possibly the rest of them Friday, he's not sure yet, so they'll
Fantastic.
bring a load, takes 2 loads to bring them all, so. We'll try and over the course of this week, get some of the other ones changed, and I'll try and, I think we should be able to fit them all with some adjusting, all in that north shelter, so they can all be inside still. So those will be coming hopefully by the end of this week.
You guys are working on the other 6 to get those for sale?
Yes, so we haven't started changing oil on any of those. We've been trying to work on the sharpening stuff yet, but I anticipate this week, if not early next week, we're gonna start
Good.
changing some oil. Jim has a few comp hours and stuff to burn up, so I'd like him to burn those up. With it being this nice, he has something else he likes to do anyways, and this week's a good week to go do those things outside and use them as comp time. So he's not gonna be working as much this week, but so sharpening, where we're at with that, we're getting finished up with our fairway mower, and then we have a trim to go over quick, and then our groomers on the greens mower. Those should be fairly quick unless I find something that surprises me. But the fairway mower we bought last year, he said it was sharpened. Well, once we got it up and looked at it, it hasn't been relief ground for probably about 3 years, so it's taking us longer per reel to sharpen that than I anticipated. But we're getting it there, and then going forward, it'll be a lot quicker sharpening it from year to year. But there's a lot of fine tuning to those reels, getting them perfect. If we do it right, we don't have to sharpen them until next year again. And having to take them off in the middle of the season, and it happens every other year, I'd say, where somebody hits something or a rock gets thrown up there, somebody leaves something behind, and then you do have to take that one reel off and sharpen it. But short of that, we've been not having to sharpen as long as it's done right in the beginning. So I like to take my time, make sure it's done right, and then put them on the machine and keep an eye on it for the year. Probably some asking when we think we're gonna open, what those questions are. So give you my best honest guess on that. The earliest we've ever opened was March 27th. And on that year, since I've been here anyways, obviously it's been before that. So 2006, the earliest we've ever opened since then. And then it was warm for the weekend, and then it pretty much was cold the next week and a half, 2 weeks, to where we kind of almost closed down, maybe opened up when it was warm enough. So how I've always done it in the past is look for a nice weekend and look what the following, week forecast. I don't like to trust more than a week out, sometimes 2, sometimes you'll see 10 days out. And that's when I base it on, If we're gonna get one day, like this week, it's gonna be warm, but the course is not ready yet. I drove out there today, there's a lot of soft spots and wet and water and snow melting yet. So obviously we can't, and then next week's cooling off again. So when the course is in firm shape, ready to go, then I look at the weather and, if we have a 70-degree day in the middle of the week on a Wednesday, but next weekend shows 40s, we don't open. But when I think it's the best, I'm gonna bring it up to probably Donnie and Lynn, and I keep Laura in the loop too, and go, this is my suggestion, and, if you guys have other thoughts on that, but that's how I've done it in the past, and I guess I'm open for ideas if we want to try something different, but it's nice to open when you have a good looking weekend. So,
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's basically, yeah, we're trying to catch up with all the maintenance and oil changes and bearings and pin joints on the decks of the rough mower and all
We
that.
turn on everything in the clubhouse for those guys.
I was gonna talk to Parker about that tomorrow. I can do that right now if I want. The water, I'm gonna look at the forecast. I think we should be good with the water. As long as the clubhouse is heated, it should keep any of the pipes from freezing, even if it gets cold at night, so. Probably let it heat up because it takes a little bit with that heater in the front, and we don't have a heater in the back.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
but I probably can turn the water on probably Wednesday, Thursday if we want. I'm gonna see what the forecast looks
Say
like again.
By
but-
next week. So
So-
when Mark gets in there to start cleaning and doing those kind of things with you, that they're ready to go.
That shouldn't be a problem.
When do we start letting campers into when does the campground open up? I'm just curious. When is it officially open?
Laura, do you remember what our first one was?
May 9th is the first.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've never picked a really
Yeah.
official date because nobody's.
As long as it firms up so they don't go in there and run it
Oh,
all
yeah,
up.
I know.
It's usually that beginning of May is when we have the first campers. You know, we don't really have anybody before that, so it's never been an issue, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I was just kind of curious if.
But yeah, if we had somebody that happened to sign up, I guess I do have access to the camp spot, so I can keep an eye on that. And once Parker starts here, he'll know. And yeah, for some reason, somebody did say, hey, I want to camp, first week in April or something because it's nice. We don't turn the water on until usually that first week in May either.
Oh, yeah.
So they would be
But they still
informed.
could get in there.
They would be informed that there's no
water.
bathrooms and no water.
Yep.
They can use the power and they can camp and give them a higher spot where they're not gonna make a rut. So, but yeah, that's never been on my mind. It's always when are we open the golf course? So,
Yeah,
It's the most important.
well, and if it's nice one day, they can go out and golf. For
Right.
camping, it's gotta be nice for 3 days for them, they wanna go, and even if it's 70 during the day like it was today, they were still saying like 20 degrees tonight. Well, it's kinda chilly in a camper if you don't have
Yeah.
the right one.
yeah.
So, any other questions for me?
Gary, you good? Donnie?
I do not.
I do not.
Good, good. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Exact.
I'm gonna have to see if Parker has anything. for
Yeah.
us.
Parker, you
Can
want
we have
Parker to
Parker
go
come in?
first?
Yeah.
real quick there? Kinda, now we're
just
kind
chomping
of,
at
now we're
the
kind
bit
of
over
pushing
there.
you to the
I
back.
didn't think he'd be that long, I would've took his spot.
I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Right.
Dude, Parker, do
Come on.
you have anything to say or?
No,
No, you good?
Good first day. I feel like I got a good grip on the software already.
Great.
So looking forward to tomorrow and the rest of the week.
Fabulous.
Sweet.
Nice.
Thank you, Parker.
Thanks, Parker. Thanks, Zach.
Good evening, everybody.
Ooh.
Laura sent you my annual report, so if you guys want to put up on the computer, you really don't have to, otherwise I can just go over the review in front of me. You really don't have to follow, because I got the same details in front of me. If you want me to start, I will, or if you want
Go
me to
ahead.
wait.
go ahead.
You go ahead.
So, for 2024 in review, the Pierz Police Department handled 1,015 calls of service. That's a 3.5 increase from 2023. That's 2.7 calls per
Eric, I'm
shift.
sorry. Did you put in our packet, Laura? I might be
Sent it
missing
to me,
something.
I did.
It's not under
I
the
thought
fire.
you did.
Is it under the police chief update?
Should be under police chief update.
There's nothing. in there.
Nothing there.
Is it in
But
there?
that's okay.
It is not in there, but that's okay.
No, it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's all right. We'll just listen.
You go.
I can send you a copy. So it's 2.7 calls per shift when we're working for the city of Pierz. The one that I am always very proud of, we handled 72 medical calls
Great.
for our area. That doesn't include Hillman and/or say MLB, because that becomes agency assist. And most of the medicals in today's world, Mr. Rushlow or myself, we're always by ourselves. Just, it's the way it is during the day, but it's something that I take true passion in, that we both are certified and that we're there for our citizens. Citations related, this is a pat to Mr. Rushlow, related to about 229 different calls of service that he handled, either traffic and/or criminal investigations that he conducted. That's a pretty cool thing for one gentleman. Some of them are mine, but majority of them, he gets to spend in a patrol unit. I'm in the office punching papers, so it's just, it shines how accountable he is for the city. Very blessed. The busiest day is Wednesdays, 196 calls of service, It was the same for 2023 with 197, one more. In 2022 was 163. For whatever reason, it's always Tuesdays or Wednesdays. As long as I've been here for 13 years, it's always been those 2 days. So go figure. The busiest time of the day is 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening with 338 calls. That's been the same in 2022. It was from 10 to 2. Busiest month this last year was July with 112 calls of service. In 2023 was March with 94 calls. And in 22 it was December with 109 calls. So that fluctuates back and forth. Other information that we take care of through the year, some of you probably aren't aware this, Lynn's going to be, that there's 10 AEDs assigned to our community, such as Hartman's, Pierz Ballroom, the church, Rooster, we go up to the fish house, but there's 10 in our area. Well, at that time, the first responders were sort of in charge of making sure they're maintained. I just told myself, well, as a volunteer first responder, they're not getting forgotten about, but while I'm working, I mark it down for my annual checklist. I go around. The old pads would usually maybe last a year or two. Now the pads that I purchased are good for 2 or 3 years. So I go around and make sure the pads are good, and then the batteries are also good. In each AED, there's 12 little lithium batteries. To replace them batteries is $112. So it's just something that I take pride in doing. I completed the 5th grade healthy living and choices. It's so something I've done since I've been here at Holy Trinity. Just go into 5th grade, you talk about poor choices, you talk about vaping, you talk about tobacco. It's a big hit. March 17th, I begin the same classroom presentations at Pioneer Elementary. March 18th, post-board audits coming into town. They usually only come in to inspect our annual books every 5 years. For whatever reason, they're coming back to us within 3 years. I have everything there waiting for them. Anytime they've come to Pierz, I get the certificate of great compliance, so I'm not concerned about it. So it's all waiting for their arrival. I received the last funding from Sourcewell of the $11,331 in grants that I wrote this last year to put back into our police budget. And that would bring me to the end of the year. Any questions on my annual report?
I just want to add so everybody knows, you do, the pads and the batteries, you do submit that back to first response, correct?
I did, Kim Skeeb, I sent a bill to Kim and she's gonna reimburse me. It was between $500 and $600 reference to the pads. The batteries, I replaced some, but we had the batteries on hand at the fire hall, so I didn't have to worry about the batteries.
Okay,
But Laura knows to replace the batteries, so that's
so
the,
you guys are aware that first response did pay for those.
and then I'll just give you one of these. This came in this week, otherwise I would have shared it earlier. It's probably not gonna mean much to you, but per state legislation, I have to give you guys each a copy. And I have to email, if you look in the very back page or second to last page, I have to email it so many representatives from the state of Minnesota. So what this is an audit. We both wear and our squad cars have the cameras installed into them. So every so many years, you have to have an independent lady come in or gentleman. They come in and make sure that we are programming our cameras, we're downloading the evidence to our ICRs, and that they're being deleted properly. So when I went through it, if you go through it, it'll always say no discrepancies noted. No discrepancies noted. The only discrepancy that they came out with was on the very last, second to last page, under audit requirements. It says discrepancy noted. All that I screwed up on was I didn't implement August 1st, 2023, when we implemented the policy on our computer or in our ordinance. We have it in there now. Otherwise, I meet everything that's required, and it was a great audit on behalf of the Pierz Police Department. So it's just something I see, I didn't look, but it looks like it's not included. On my copy, you have to send it to, I think there's gonna be 9 or 13 representatives from the state of Minnesota. They get to go in and view what we've done per how our government does it, which I disagree, but it's a rule that we have to follow. And my audit came back just fine.
Good.
Do they have the peddler ordinance in front of them?
I just emailed it.
Okay.
Apologize.
So the peddler ordinance is, we talked about this for a long time, and I believe it's something that we need to move on. The ordinance is completed. All we gotta do is, if you have it, I'd ask you all to read it, go over it for the first read, and then prior to our next meeting, we can post it for a public hearing, I imagine, for.
Yeah, we can do it during the meeting.
Yep,
Close the
yep.
meeting, open it up. I'm starting to get used to those.
Yep. And there'd be a question that one of us will have to ask Sue, since we already have part of a peddler ordinance in place, do we have to have a public hearing? But I believe when we change or add, we still have to get the input from the community if there's any concerns. The only other hot question that we have on it is what we're going to charge. And, for example, Avon charges $100 for 1 to 21 days. So you can be in town for 1 day or 21, it's $100. Annandale, the fee is 1 to 3 is $50. 4 to 10 days is 100. 30 days is $250 and annual is 500. And I believe 1 to 21, what happens if they come in all summer? I think Annandale's is a nice way to go where if somebody wants to come in just for one or 2 days, they pay $50.
So what was Annandale's again?
Annandale's 1 to 3 is $50
1 to 3
days.
days.
4 to 10 days is $100.
Okay,
30 days is $250. And annual would be 500.
yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, I do too.
Our current one is we have 3 different ordinances pertaining to this situation. Transient merchant is $20, peddler solicitor is $250, and then we also have a vendoring selling foods at $250. So I believe with this new update to our peddlers, we're getting rid of our old antique stuff and bringing in the latest to benefit everybody,
Replace some of the others all in one ordinance.
all in one ordinance.
Like it.
So I just ask that you take it home, review it. If we have questions, we can talk about it. Otherwise, then we can go ahead and have that public hearing so we can get this ordinance taken care of. Any questions on the peddlers? And then we are also looking at the firearm bow and arrow one. I should say that one is completed. It's just a matter of, I don't want to put them all on top of each other so quick. We have time we have until August. So sometime here this summer, we'll do the archery one, just so we know, and put that out to the public also.
Did you want to cover the camera situation, Eric, or was that for some other?
I'll discuss in a little bit, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Throw it out there.
Yeah.
Now, this one is just something I want to bring up to everybody at a council, not as a workshop, just because of the number of complaints we've had over the last couple of years. It's pertaining to golf carts.
Oh, no.
In the city of Pierz, we have no authority to really, to be honest with you, they're 100% illegal, but we turn our back to them to allow them in the community. And I just think with the direction that we're going and how, like tonight when I came into town, there was 2 cruising the streets already with young kids on them. With Highway 25, I think it's something that we got to look into and just ask our community maybe for some input and regulate them just so we know who they are, and under the rules, they'd have to be 16 years to drive. Sorry. And okay, now everybody's gonna go, well, what are you gonna charge, right? What's the costs? Well, I think Pierz is gonna do it the right way, like we have a lot of stuff. Chaska is $90 every 3 years. Buffalo's $5 annually. And the policy that I pulled is Albany's. Albany charges $10 annually. And I'd probably ask that we do it the same time we do our dog licenses. Because I think if you do it every 3 years, they're gonna be forgotten about. People aren't gonna get the information if they move into the community. So I know $10 is $10, but it would give us a process of who has them and that we can control that nobody gets hit or gets smucked on Main Street.
Is there a specialized sticker or something we can put on that you could see it?
The sticker I'm not sure about. I did not look into that, but I did print off a registration process that if we move forward, I can give it to Dion and she can come up with her registration form in the front desk, just so when people come in, they can do it and go that route. So it's just something that I wanted to throw towards you. I think it'd be good feedback here in the next month to figure out which way we want to go and just make sure that we don't have some type of accident or fatality, because it's getting worse each and every year. Each and every year it's getting worse.
And the only reason I was thinking something to put on that, whether it's a sticker or whatever, is if you, a Rushlow are out there, is all you're doing is you're looking
Yep.
at a spot on a golf cart. Everybody's got to put it in the same spot.
I would like to see a sticker. It'd be
And then just go to $15 or something.
I was
We
gonna
gotta-
say, make sure it covers the
Yeah.
cost
Yep.
of the sticker.
So we get $5 in the sticker and they get $10 to look at it, whatever.
Any questions on the golf carts?
I think they're getting more and more reckless too when it comes to that.
Well, they're getting younger and younger.
Well,
That's
that
the
too.
concern.
Yeah.
I truly don't have a problem if you see a mom and dad, but when you start seeing some young kids,
Like
and we've had parents that believe their 2 littlest kids should be on the back seat of it and not in the front, and
Right.
we hamper them, we send them home, but sometimes they don't like to listen. So,
Right.
any questions on any of that
16
topics?
with a valid driver's license.
16 with a valid driver's license.
we could probably include this to make four-wheelers or like I've got a side-by-side.
That one, there's reads on that to put them together. This is strictly golf cart because I think with that one, it's gonna be too hard because you have too many people that are coming off the Sioux line to come in and spend money at our local bars.
Okay.
So with the ATV, we already have the state guidelines that they have to follow reference to ATV registration and or driver's license. So they're regulated already that we have a rule, Donnie, where the golf carts, to be honest with you, the golf carts are absolutely, under our book, they're 100% illegal. It's just small town, we let them do their thing as long as they're peaceful and respectful.
Yep, perfect.
Any other questions for me?
Nope.
And then the only other thing that I have is, we all know I went through the knee surgery, correct? When I was going for the knee surgery, I got a bill for leave of purchase payment where, because I went through workman's comp, they didn't, the city did not contribute to my para, and either did I. So I had to cut a check to make sure my months of service continue to run. So I had to cut a check for $779.58. I spoke to Post Board. They advised me that usually the city or the county handles that expense and that I should come and request that money be put back into my pocket. So I would just, it's something that came up when I was out for knee surgery. And I'm just curious to see if I'll be allowed to retrieve my money from the city.
I mean, I think you should, just for the fact that you hurt your, for sure, because you hurt your knee actually helping a citizen in Pierz. I mean, that should be,
I would just make a motion, the city of Pierz would pay that back to Chief Hennigan.
And
I second.
$779.58, Gary.
$779.58.
Thank you.
all approve.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll give that back to you for now, just so you see it. That's the amount. Any other questions for me? We all know we had a hot season, right? Especially, I won't go into details, but there's very good movement on it. It's,
Oh, is there?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just, I ain't gonna, Laura knows, several council members know, of course, but I just won't say it on camera, but it's, the amount of felony crimes that we had in 2024 was staggering for a small department. It's, if I showed you what's on my desk right now with what's going on, the workload that's sitting there, I don't mind doing it. But if somebody asks you why the squad car is sitting by City Hall, always idling, tell them to come in and see me because there's a lot going on that nobody has a clue.
I never question it. I know you're busy.
I know you don't, but it's come to my attention that, you know, it goes back to community talk and it's brought back to me.
Oh,
And then
no
the
one's
other-
ever asked me.
No, and then the other thing that is something that I'm gonna kindly look into is, and if I can come up with grant money, is we're gonna have an option to do something with cameras in the city. We already have them on Pioneer. We got great cameras, but they're good cameras most of the time, but you're not getting the right data that we'd like. So I'm gonna be attending a meeting this week. It's called Flock Cameras, where you gotta buy 2 at a time, but you could put one south side of town and north side of town. And it's gonna read every license plate that comes into town. And within 10 to 15 seconds, if that driver's got a warrant, canceled IPS, revoked or suspended, within 15 seconds, it sends a message to whoever's terminals are in Pierz and or for Morrison County. So when somebody comes in, such as the bank with a stolen vehicle, it's gonna be a hit and it's gonna go to any deputy and or small town in our area. And it's just something I'm gonna look into and see if we can come up with funding. Or if I have to come to the council and ask for it, it's an option, but it's just homework that I'm gonna do to try and secure the city more than we can.
Do you have any idea yet? You probably don't have any idea what it would cost.
$6,000.
6,000?
$6,000 annually though. It's
Yeah,
annually.
Annually.
Yeah, so it's just, it's a topic we can,
It is.
just something I thought I'd throw out there. We can discuss that at a future workshop, but it's just something that I think needs to be done because of the crime that's coming through Highway
It's
25.
getting,
Absolutely.
it's
And we
getting
can use
worse.
it when we budget, when Sarah, we
Right.
look at the
Yeah.
budgeting.
That might be something worse, yeah.
Hard to put a price on safety.
Well,
It is.
right.
Absolutely.
Really is.
Totally agree.
That
We'd
definitely
benefit.
changes it definitely changes the tone of, or the feel of the town we're trying to
It
create,
does.
keep,
The amount of hours that Eric has put into
Ugh.
just this.
right, just this
incident.
one incident, yeah.
And if you guys, any of you are Pioneer Lake Mutual members, how many are? John, you know Donnie. I'm gonna be presenting at the Pioneer Lake Mutual meeting, and I'm gonna be bringing up 5 or 6 of these cases to let anybody know what's going on in this community. It's gonna be an eye opener because I'm using a PowerPoint with slides from many of these different crimes that we've had. And I'm just gonna, and most of them are people that are in this community, so they can see, just to give them a reminder to make sure they lock their doors and be secure, so.
When is that, Eric?
I believe it's April 7th. I'm not sure. I think it's the first week of April sometime.
It's normally the first Monday in April.
But if you're not a member, you don't get a free meal, John.
No, well, I come with my mom. I have to bring my mother.
That doesn't count. You're not, still not a member.
That's why I gave last year.
Yeah.
I was her guest.
Still doesn't count. Still doesn't count.
Any questions for me?
Looking forward to hearing the results.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you for all your hard
Thank
work,
you.
Eric.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I got, yeah, okay, so we're looking pretty good here, so I kind of got caught up in the moment with Eric, so.
He heard free food.
My second page.
To Laura.
Laura, okay, awesome. So if we have, do you have any updates, Laura?
I just have a small one. At the last meeting, I had stated that the Boards of Appeal and Equalization on April 10th only needed 2 council members, and I was incorrect. That needs 3. So Sarah will be the 3rd person. She said that she was able to make that work. So April 10th at 1 o'clock, it is Lynn, Don, and Sarah here. And then our audit is complete. I'm just waiting to hear when they would like to present and get an update on that.
Yeah, and Laura's been really busy. She's had a lot going on, and so I thank you for all your hard work that you do. Council updates? I don't have a whole lot. I just, Laura and I went to the mayor's meeting, and it's really interesting getting insight on other towns and giving our own insight and things of that, stuff like that. But you got anything, Gary, at all?
I do not.
Donnie?
I do not.
Lynn? Sarah? I think, well, Donnie, you're up.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:11 PM.
Donnie makes a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Gary seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.